Hi, I'm Nick Chamberlain from Chamberlain Law, and I take issue with the Young Turks assessment of United States Senator Mike Lee. Full disclosure, I'm from Utah, so take this for what it's worth. In your broadcast, Young Turks, you disagree with Senator Lee's criticism of child labor laws by saying a series of illogical things. You mainly respond to him by skewering him sarcastically and trying to make it sound like he wants to put little kids to work in factories. What evidence do you have for that? You make an unfounded accusation regarding his support for federal legislation of sexual behavior. Any evidence for that? Next comes your astute interpretation of the Commerce Clause. You say, quote, he's wrong because everything that's manufactured in a business can be sold on an interstate basis. What else is there to say? Unquote. Are you implying that the federal government should be given carte blanche on anything manufactured in a business? You also make the baffling assumption that because he only criticizes 12 to 13-hour workdays for children, that somehow he supports regular length workdays for children. Seems to be a bit of a stretch. You say that under the Constitution, Congress is able to regulate commerce. Where do you come up with that? The Commerce Clause says that Congress has power to, quote, regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states, unquote. Does that language suggest federal regulation of all commerce, as you claim? Further, you say that Republicans want to revert back to, quote, the olden days. It's like they missed all the terrible things that happened in history, unquote. Young Turks, have you missed all the federal power grabs in the last 150 years? All done under the pretext of protecting the people and national security? Toward the end of your post, you really spin out of logical control by calling the senator crazy, saying that his whole argument didn't make any sense and laughing at him. My point in responding to your posting is saying that your assertion that he's crazy and that there's only one way to interpret the Commerce Clause is not backed by sound reasoning. You use glaring logical fallacies, such as personal attacks and unwarranted conclusions, to prove your point. I think you can do better than that. Socrates said, "Don't refute me, refute the argument." Senator Lee's arguments still stand because you never directly engaged them. You only attacked him. Mike Lee was only saying that certain areas are for states to regulate and not for the federal government. Is that so crazy? How dare he question the limits of federal power? Now, you can disagree with his interpretation of the U.S. Constitution, but to call him crazy is just not what we need right now. Can we disagree without being so disagreeable? The framers of the Constitution did not intend to give the federal government all power in our lives. Your interpretation of the Commerce Clause would place no limits on what is defined as commerce. Why have state governments at all? Well, because the Constitution also has the 10th Amendment, which gives the states power in all the areas that the Constitution doesn't grant powers to the federal government. For over a century, the Supreme Court has gone back and forth on this issue. Legal geniuses have agreed and disagreed with your take on things. Are the ones who disagreed with you crazy as well?